Yo! What's good, y'all? It's your boy V here, and today we're gonna do 10 surprising outcomes from Avengers Endgame. So, spoilers ahead. So if you haven't watched the movie and you don't want any spoilers, then go watch the movie, then come back and watch this. Let's get started. So, I think here are 10 surprising outcomes in Avengers Endgame. Or 10 outcomes that we really wanted. So Chris Evans in his final for now movie with with Marvel, he finally wielded Mjolnir in the fight against Thanos. We all knew it was gonna happen because if you've read the comic books, Captain America has wielded Mjolnir before. And for the first time he did it in the comic books, it was just to give it to Thor. But then the second time it was for a full-on battle. So I think I think it brings a good ending to it because I think it was in either the first Avengers or Age of Ultron. I think it was in the first Avengers where they all started. Yeah, it was in the first Avengers where they all started where they all were trying to pick up Stormbreaker. And, well, none of them could do it except Vision. So I think, and as we've seen in Thor, Odin gave a punishment to Thor. He said, the only way that you can wield your hammer is if you're worthy of it. And I think in this, with Steve Rogers repairing his relationship with Tony Stark, I think he deserved it. Second thing here, then Clint Barton, he became Ronin in this movie. We see him in Japan, in that fight scene there, but the name Ronin is not mentioned by him or any of his peers. Especially when we get that Black Widow scene, when Black Widow comes up, when Black Widow's there, and then Barton's like, "Oh, you shouldn't be here." Like that scene. Even then, Natasha doesn't speak of Barton as Ronin. So that was kind of surprising because, we were all expecting Ronin to be the new name and for Barton to take on the full identity of Ronin, but he only took that identity for a few minutes, so that was kind of surprising. Then we go to one of my next reasons is when we saw Captain Marvel, or before the movie came out, we all thought that she was going to be the strongest Avenger. And, I mean, in this movie, it could have proved that if she had been given at least more than 10 minutes of screen time. Because the only thing that she did was in the beginning when she met up with the Avengers and they went and decapitated Thanos. And then in the end, I feel like Captain Marvel should have been a little bit more she should have had quite some more screen time. And they give this lame excuse of, oh, there are more universes to save, and unfortunately they don't have the Avengers. That was a pretty lame excuse in my eyes. Captain Marvel should have been a lot she should have been involved in this movie a lot more. The other thing, we knew that if the Avengers were to get the Soul Stone, you have to sacrifice a soul for a soul, is what they call it. And we were all expecting, somebody like Iron Man or Captain America, maybe even Thor if it came down to it. I doubt in Thor, but maybe some people. I feel like some people would have thought that. But in the end, it was Black Widow, and that was surprising because there has been a Black Widow movie confirmed. And she was the one who was sacrificed in Endgame. So, first of all, it was kind of sad because Black Widow was a really good character and had a really good story, and it felt like she should have continued more. But so that movie will definitely be set in the past now. I was also really surprised when that Falcon became the new Captain America because, first of all, he wasn't the most prominent guy for the role, and he and Steve Rogers, Captain America, never had like a true best friend relationship. We've seen in the comics how Sam and Bucky have both been become Captain America, and well, I guess a lot of people thought, including me, that it might have been somebody else. I would have said it was gonna. I would have said, oh, it's gonna be Bucky because Bucky and Steve Rogers had a really close relationship, and they were best friends. Really close friendship, I should say, and they were really close friends. But it'll be fun to see Falcon as the new Captain America. As we know, Captain America is not just a guy with a shield. He brings that super soldier. He's a super soldier. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in Phase 4 and beyond with the new Captain America. And one thing that can be surprising is Loki could be alive. Because if you see how Loki kind of died in Infinity War, that was kind of strange. It felt like Loki was kind of up to something. Then we see an Endgame where Tony Stark and Ant-Man, they're trying to get the Tesseract. Then the Tesseract falls to Loki. Then Loki just vanishes. So for all we know, Loki could be anywhere right now. He could be anywhere. So there is a possibility that Loki could come into the present in 2023 and be in the present. So, and this is probably one of the most surprising things. I don't think anybody expected Thor, out of all people, to go obese. I'll say obese. We know it's a little bit more than that. But the real reason is because Thor felt like he was responsible for the billions that disintegrated because he was extremely close to killing off Thanos right now in Infinity War. But then he didn't go for the head. So we go to 3 weeks after the snap, and then they go attack Thanos right away because they've seen that he's used the stones 2 days ago to get rid of the stones. And let's just say Thor goes for the head this time. And then Thor felt like he was Thor felt extremely guilty about not going for the head, and he could have potentially saved every single all the billions of people who disintegrated, and he felt like he was also responsible for Loki's death in Infinity War. And we all thought that he might try to rebuild Asgard, but he just decided to become very obese, drink lots of beer, and scream at kids on Fortnite. But I think that Chris Hemsworth, the actor for Thor, said that he was the one who kind of wanted that change with the guilt and such. So maybe hopefully it's kind of confirmed that he's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 because him joining the Guardians, he's not just going to go to the Guardians and retire. That's most likely not going to happen. So he'll most likely be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and hopefully we get to see the old Thor back, the God of Thunder. I think we all thought that Thor would, a lot of people thought that in an Endgame, we all thought that Thor, his worthiness of being the king, of Asgard might come into play. He might be the one who's kind of wise enough and thinks of a plan and all that. But as we know, as I explained in the last reason, that didn't happen. And many people thought that, well, here, I'll start with this. Howard Stark was good at many things. He was good at making money. He was good at, and he was also good at making enemies. That's just a couple of them. But he was not good at being a father. And as Tony Stark revealed in previous movies, Howard Stark and his dad never said the word "I love you" to him. And that's kind of sad. But it was pretty emotional to see Tony Stark and Howard Stark kind of meet up again back in the 70s. So Howard Stark was basically looking at his son, his future son. And he kind of gives him that awkward "I love you," that kind of like line there. It's kind of cryptic, but gives that. So I think that was a pretty emotional scene for pretty much everybody, like Tony Stark. That was a pretty emotional scene for a lot of fans. And we never thought that Howard Stark would be this casual as well. And then going to my last reason. Pretty much everybody who knows, who's seen previous Marvel movies before, after the credits rolled, y'all are still sitting there, including myself. I was still sitting there. I was like, come on, just give me the post-credit scene, give me the post-credit scene. And it didn't come. Now, I know y'all are hearing those hammer sounds that Tony Stark, that Tony Stark was making. You heard those 3 times. But usually they give a direction into where Marvel is going to be going with the post-credit scene. They didn't do that, but I think from those sounds we can figure out a little bit of how Tony Stark will be kind of his conscience will be a big role in Phase 4 and beyond. I think that does it. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all liked and enjoyed. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new around here. We're trying to get those subscribers up. We can hit 20. If we can hit 30 subscribers, if we can hit 25 likes, not subscribers. If we can hit 25 likes by Friday, I'm recording this on a Wednesday. If we can hit it by Friday, then you'll probably see this by Thursday. So if we can hit 20 likes by Friday. You know what? Never mind. I'll go 15 likes. We'll go 15 likes on Friday, posting another video ASAP. Peace. I am Iron Man.